What kind of things should you be aware of when you're dating an autistic person? My name's Sarinah, and I'm going to give you the lowdown on autism and relationships. It's important to note that this is only a guide drawn from my own perspectives, and it doesn't reflect the vast range of approaches and ways of navigating relationships when your partner is autistic. Autistic people often have unconventional ways of socialising or relating to others, and with dating etiquette there's no exception. For many of us, body language isn't picked up on, and signals and hints can fail to register. I can't count the number of times a friend told me that somebody was flirting with me when I thought that they were just being friendly. This makes it easier for us to be mocked, misinterpreted, or stood up, so dating can be a pretty terrifying prospect for us. Verbal communication is key. Don't assume that your autistic partner understands what you mean by your physical gestures alone. In most cases, if you're not sure, ask. Autistic people often have a lower social demand than neurotypicals, so we may spend more time alone, leading to assumptions that we don't enjoy our partner's company. I've had previous problems with not wanting to see my partners as much as they wanted to see me, preferring to be alone, pursuing my special interests. Burnout is particularly common in autistic people. We might want to be alone for days or even weeks while we recover from it. Not everyone can handle such distancing, and that's fine, as long as it's made clear from the get-go. Conversely, some autistic people develop intense romantic feelings extremely quickly, and they might not know how to express them conventionally. This can lead to feelings of awkwardness or unease from potential partners. To avoid tension and resentment, it's so important to talk about boundaries and stick to them. Making a timetable for dates or filling out a calendar well in advance is a good start. Boundaries are so significant when it comes to any physical relationship. When you're dealing with somebody who is particularly susceptible to miscommunication, it's imperative to have these conversations as early as possible. Don't get annoyed at your autistic partner for disregarding the societal demands imposed on people in relationships. We have different but equally valuable ways of expressing affection. However, just because somebody's actions might be linked to their autism, it doesn't mean that you have to accept behaviours that you're not comfortable with. Boundaries work both ways, and anyone reserves the right to walk away from a situation that they're not comfortable with. Autistic people often have intense or narrow interests, and many won't enjoy ordinary hobbies like socialising or clubbing. In order for an autistic person to feel content and fulfilled, they need to have their interests accepted or embraced. They should never be expected to hide them just to feel included. If you make us choose between you and our special interests, it's highly unlikely that the relationship's going to last. If they are open to sharing it, show curiosity in your partner's special interest. Whether that's attending a Star Trek conference or spending the afternoon at an animal sanctuary, I guarantee that this will mean more than any designer watch. Try to include options for dates that aren't too socially demanding, like going to the cinema or taking a walk. Understandably, an autistic person's reluctance to partake in activities with their partner can be interpreted as disinterest, but it's more complicated than that. For example, going to the pub may require us to use what limited energy we have to pretend that we're having a good time. Feigning interest in ordinary hobbies or pastimes is part of what's known as masking. Masking also manifests in other ways, such as laughing at jokes we don't immediately get, making eye contact even though it makes us uncomfortable, and wearing clothes that we don't like in order to better fit in. If your partner has agreed to do something out with their comfort zone, check in on them regularly during the activity. Understand that just because we are physically able to go to the pub and socialise, it doesn't mean we actually want to. We might not be able to keep up with regular social outings after the honeymoon period of the relationship ends. Be sympathetic if you get cancelled on, particularly if it's an event with lots of socialising, or if it's in an environment with heightened sensory stimuli. Find out about masking and the impact that it has on autistic people. That autistic people don't feel empathy is a myth that your autistic datemate has probably heard many times, and it's highly offensive because it likens us to robots or machines. We do feel empathy, but we sometimes struggle to actually envision putting ourselves in others' shoes. As mentioned, autistic people tend not to act intuitively, so for example, if you appear down, your autistic partner might not know to give you a cuddle. Don't assume your partner's intentions based on how they read body language. Don't assume the worst if your partner doesn't react in a manner that's expected of them, especially because it can be difficult to tell what we're thinking from our facial expressions alone. Be empathetic when it comes to empathy. There you have it, my top tips for autism and relationships. If you found this video useful, be sure to like and share.